Jim Taylor, Truckworks Kenworth. Here today just to go over some issues we're having with DEF sensors. You know, some cleaning procedures we have come up with. There's no guarantee this will fix your issue, but we're probably looking 60% of the time. So I'm going to go through the procedure now. Here we have the standard DEF level sensor for Kenworth, and there's multiple part numbers. Don't need to go through all of them. One thing to share, I did this for the video purposes, there's a boot. Typically on the end of this, you'll see a rubber boot on here with 2 white zip ties. I cut the old zip ties, and then you slide the boot off, and then you install the boot when we're done with this and put 2 new zip ties back on there. But I wanted to go through a few different parts of the sensor real quick just to explain what we got. So this is the old style. If you look, that's an epoxy sealer that seals off the microboard that's in here, and what we're having with high temperatures in the DEF tank, we're getting separation in that epoxy, and we'll get DEF intrusion into the sensor, and we'll get a short. If you get a short, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to clean this or fix this. The faults you would have would be communication errors. They could be voltage high, low. There's a lot of different codes, but it would not be quality codes, level codes, or necessarily temperature codes. So if you see voltage codes or communication faults, you're not going to be able to clean the sensor. But I'd say majority of the time we're finding it to be the components of the temperature, the level, or the quality. So we're going to go into that now. So what I have here is a bucket, and there is multiple ways that people are doing this right now. Like I said, this isn't a Kenworth procedure. This is things dealers have come up with, just messing around in the field. So how I do it, I mix extreme hot water in 1 bottle of Windex in a bucket, and I just submerge the bottom side of that sensor. I like to do that for about 30 minutes. When I'm done with that, I actually pull my sensor, rinse it off, and now we're going to go through the few components of the sensor, what I'm trying to accomplish when I'm cleaning this. So this portion here, see this little mirror? This is a transducer that shines or either sends a signal to this sensor. That's the quality portion. That is majority of the time what we're seeing is DEF that gets clogged up on this sensor. So how I like to clean it, easiest way I found is I get a little pocket screwdriver, slide it in the base of that mirror, you see it? And I'm sliding that mirror up. That little mirror is going to come out, just like that. I'm going to set it aside for just a second, and I'm going to just spray, just to clean the area. All right, clean those grooves, clean the sensor side. I'm just going to dunk it to flush it. All right, set that back down. This is the real portion we're really focused on cleaning. There cannot be any film, there cannot be anything on this. It has to be spotless. There's nothing fancy about this metal. It's just a little piece of stainless, but we have to have it spotless. When I'm putting it on, I'm usually wearing latex gloves. I need to put some clean ones on. You know, I don't even want fingerprints on it. So once I have it clean, I slide it back down into the groove, and I have to make sure it's seated all the way. And once I do that, my cleaning procedure of the quality portion of this sensor is done. Temperature is another one I should have said. If we're having extreme temperature faults, you need to check the coolant heater valve. It possibly has failed. You have 2 lines going into the tank. The easiest way to do it is to have the truck at operating temperature, shine a laser on it would be the right side of the metal line that's going in, not the DEF lines, the coolant heater lines going in. If it's 20 degrees higher than ambient outside temperature and it's above 34 degrees outside, I know my heater valve has failed, and it probably has burned this sensor up anyway. So make sure you replace the heater valve if failed before you do this, because whatever you do is just going to knock out another sensor. So we had a quality code, right? Say we clean that code should be resolved if the sensor's still internally good. The other portion is right here. You'll see some ports. Inside this tube there's a float. So the float slides up and down the tube, and it gets a resistance reading, and it lets us know how, you know, where the level's at. So how I like to clean this portion is I usually actually get a Q-tip and I clean these ports, make sure we don't have no built-up DEF, because what we're seeing is DEF is crystallizing in the tube and it's binding the float, and there's times you can actually slide it and hear the float slide, but the submersion in this fluid is what's going to help is what's going to help that free up. And there's actually another port up here. So if I actually, what I love to do is if I have a sink that I can get this thing under with hot water, I like to hold the sensor under the hot water with this port up here and just hold the water running right there on that port, hold it down, and you'll start getting a really good strong flow through this bottom. And you should hear the depth sensor sliding. I can hear it now. Now you can't, but you'll hear a pop when you slide it. So once you get it all cleaned up, and I like to clean the base, the top, might as well get it real clean, right? Put your boot back on, zip tie it, install it back in the tank, of course plug it up. There's a possibility your codes will go inactive and they'll clear themselves. I probably, half the time I see it that way. There might be a chance you'll have to run a verification test like a DEF, D-rate tool, and you'd have to have DAV4 for that. But I just wanted to run through the depth sensor, how we're cleaning them, and this is the way I found success doing it.